Hello, VC. It's Rich again. It's been a little while. I spent the last 7 days being very, very sick, and I'm better now. But I did miss a chance to drop any videos on year-end reviews and favorite pickups from 2023. Videos I had planned on making, and some I even started, but they seem kind of moot right now, sadly. But I am feeling better, and seeing everybody promote the vinyl tag from Rob Walker this year really got me remotivated and reinvigorated. And here I am. Plan on seeing this one all the way through with minimal edits if I can. I'm not as nearly so smooth as a lot of you guys who can just do it all in one long take. I'm not that dude. I still have some cough and a bit of lung butter left over from the COVID, so I may have to take a break here and there for being able to make myself a bit more clear. So, thanks for showing up. Question number one is the favorite record I purchased in 2023. That proved to be a bit tougher than I thought, and also allowed me to make a stupid mistake on my Discogs page that deleted everything I bought in the last year. But now I know that I bought 250 records this last year because that's how many are missing. So I still have a vague recollection of the ones I have come into possession of in the last 365. And out of those, it's tough to choose, but I did. The Great Louvin Brothers, Ira and Charles, OG, 1956. This is one I've wanted for a very long time, and sometimes the price presents itself, and I'm very happy. It's an actual near mint condition, if you can believe such a thing. Comes with the inner sleeve, and it's a wonderful addition to my almost nearly complete OG Louvin Brothers collection. I figured also I buy some records, but not too many, for things other than the music that's contained upon them. Some of them have inserts that are interesting, and I'm a big fan of posters, so I'll buy a bad record that has a good poster as well. And this is my non-musical favorite purchase of the year. This is absolutely a gem, and really, I bought it for $10, but it's hard to find by those who are looking for it. And anybody who'd be looking for it, I imagine, is a Pogo Possum fan like myself and a fan of the great Walt Kelly. Not a huge fan of the music on it, but I love some Pogo. So this is a display piece. And question two, the last record you bought in 2023. Well, the last record I bought in 2023 still has not been delivered yet, but it is a long-awaited repress of a punk rock record from a band called the Dead Pioneers. I ran into it on Bandcamp a couple of months ago, just trolling for punk rock, and it sounded great. And I was very happy to jump on their page and look for a way to buy it, but all that was left was a cassette version, which I'm just not gonna fucking do, obviously. But the LP, they had a limited run, and it sold out quick because there were probably people like me who jumped on there, heard it, and ran to buy it. So I waited a couple months, and boom, all of a sudden, got an email that they had a repress, and so I went back, and I bought that on the 29th. So that's not going to be here for a couple of days, but I'll flash a picture up on the screen when you guys see it. And I can highly recommend it if you're into punk rock. But the last record that got delivered to the house before the end of the year, that's one I'm going to have to look around for. Give me a second. What was that last one?
2 hours later.
Okay, sorry that took a little while there, but I did find it. Last one delivered this year. Funkadelic, Uncle Jam Wants You. Rescue dance music from the Blahs. This is a multiple one for me. This might be number 4. And Obviously didn't buy it because I thought the cover was in beautiful condition, but they did state that the vinyl was really, really good. And yeah, I can see that we all have fucking differing ideas of what good vinyl looks like. So I might clean this one up to see what I can do, or have a little word with the person who sold it to me. But that's what you get sometimes. Anywho. Oh, and also for what it's worth, I'm wearing my Boston Red Sox long-awaited 2004 World Championship. This is the 20th year I've had this bad boy, still looking good. Been a fan of the Sox since 1978, so it was a long time to wait. So I still wear it with a lot of pride. I didn't buy any other. I bought all the hats from the championships to follow this one, but never any other bigger merch. So just had to represent. And on to question 3. A band or a singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. Now, I guess this could go for almost any band pre 1975, I suppose, because you had to release 2 or more just to show your record company you were hustling. And a lot of bands did that very well. I mean, Zeppelin did it very well. CCR did it extremely well. And there's a lot of good choices to choose from. But I had to choose one of my favorite bands, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who picked this one. So on December 3rd, 1965, the Beatles released Rubber Soul, and less than a year after that, the classic album Revolver. 2 of my all-time favorites from one of my all-time favorite bands. And these are both original, for whatever that's worth. I mean, I love listening to them. I wouldn't buy them because they had any extra value. And just a fan and love it. I can also even show off these little bad boys that I picked up recently. Somebody on the Facebook Marketplace had found like 100 of these laying around. So yeah, pretty cool. These things are way older than me. Okay, I'm actually getting kind of warm in this thing now. And question 4, what is it? If you could only listen to music from one decade, which one would it be? And I would imagine most people my age, which is people born in the 70s, we'd probably choose the 80s. For me, um, I was born in 71, so when punk rock was really at its beginnings in mid to late 70s, I was too young to notice, by far. But I do remember 1979 and the first time I heard hip hop music. And so it would be the 80s, just because of what I consider to be the golden age of hip hop and the real proliferation and perfection of what would become known as alternative rock. Uh, that's it, pretty much. I mean, Run DMC, Houdini, LL Cool J, Slick Rick, Public Enemy, Depeche Mode, The Cure, The Smiths, even Morrissey solo. He went solo in '87. OMD, New Order. And number 5, show a record with a band or a singer from Manchester. I had previously, a few weeks ago, made a video about my Smiths and Morrissey collection, which was rather extensive, and I still didn't include a lot of things that are in that collection, just for the sake of brevity and the patience of everybody involved. And so much of my collection is Manchester heavy. It's a place that's made a lot of music that I love, not just including the Morrissey stuff I have and the Smiths albums, There's The Fall, and there is Durutti Column, The Wonderful Happy Mondays, Charlatans UK is a favorite band of mine. There's a lot. So to not be obvious, I went with the Brothers Gibb. Never get enough praise, even if some people feel that they get overhyped or whatever. I still don't think it's nearly enough for what they've done and how well they wrote songs and performed them. So, the great Bee Gees. And number 6, which band or singer did you listen to most in 2023? And I did a lot of research on the number of plays on my iTunes and various other places, and what music stayed in the hopper next to my turntable to have close at hand when I wanted to listen to music. And I think this year stayed the same as about every other year for as long as I can remember. Topped off number 1 by those very same Beatles, and followed very closely by Tool and The Descendants. And it's kind of been that way for a very long time. Number 7 is show 7-inch records. I don't make 7-inch records a very intensive part of my collecting, but when I see an interesting one or one that means a lot to me, I will grab it. My early collection when I was a child was 7-inch single heavy, because I think they were still about 50 cents back then, so it was something I could afford when I was 7 or 8 years old when I started buying them. But here is a smattering. So here's the first one. This is Willie Carlisle's newest 7-inch. This is Cheap Cocaine, backed with my favorite song of his, Tulsa's Last Magician. It's a great one, and I believe this is the first record for the Western as Fuck people. If you've never checked out that channel on YouTube, it's where a lot of good, honest music is to be found. It's not a lot of like tight jean Nashville country bullshit. It's really good stuff, and Willie Carlisle is worth your listen if you have a chance. Next is a gift from my oldest son a few years ago. We're both Bad Religion fans, and the great Coop drew this cover for American Jesus. Very proud to have this one. Love it, love it. Next is wow, this is one of the first records I bought online. It's an EP, Hank Williams EP. I'm a tremendous Hank Williams fan, Hank Williams Senior fan, and I didn't know they made these EPs back then. It's a gatefold. It's a dual 45 record, and it's something I'm very proud to have. Next is Jack White and the Electric Mayhem. I mean, what else is there to say? It's Jack White and the Muppet Show. And to follow that is very much falling apart, Echo and the Bunnymen box for Lips Like Sugar, which really needs no explanation for me. It's an all-time classic song that I still listen to with regularity. I bought this in 1992 or 1993 at a record convention, which I didn't know was a thing until that day, and didn't have a record player anymore, and was just astounded that there was a room full of thousands and thousands of records that I wanted. But I was poor, and some nice person was selling this. I think it was $5, and it was sealed in 1992, 1993. But I think today it gives up the ghost. I've never seen the inside of one of these, but why not? Oh, it's got a postcard. It's got a couple postcards, and it looks like Anton Corbijn photography. There's the 45 itself. Beautiful, little dusty, but shit, at this point, so am I. So yeah, it felt kind of good to open that one after so long. And last, but certainly not least, The Great Clash. with bank robber. Really needs no explanation. If you know, you know. It's a beauty. Oops, and I almost forgot. Number 7. Uncle Jam wants you to join his army. This was a rare flexi giveaway contest disc that, as far as I knew, was only given away at the end of the Uncle Jam's Army shows at the LA Sports Arena way back in the day. If you're from Southern California, Roger Troutman and other members of the group Zap, or ultimately became Zap, would rock some big shows at the sports arena. And this little instrumental was given out, and people could sing along on a cassette to the instrumental on this and send it in, and you could win a prize. I think it was some real money, 25 G's. And that's not too bad. The song was In the Cabin of My Uncle Jam. And it's pretty funky, and it is hard to get. And I was very lucky to find it about a year or two ago, way under what it is currently valued at. So I'm pretty happy to have that. It's a great one. All right, and question number 8: who's coming to your party? And I'm supposed to pick 4 artists or music industry related people who would I imagine to be interesting enough that I would want to invite them to a dinner party. And this is a tough one, but I did narrow it down to 4, with number 1 being Peter Gabriel. Very interesting cat. Seems very calm. Don't think he would puke on your floor or leave the toilet seat up. Genuine humanitarian. And this is my favorite version of this record because it's the Russian version, and you're used to seeing it with really no script on it. So to see it like that always makes me smile. After Peter would have been the great David Jones. And yeah, I mean, what else do you say? If you can have Bowie at your party, like, he can keep it interesting. I would look forward to that. Very educated, cultured individual. And following them, Saint Stevie Wonder. Is there a better person alive? I doubt it. Contributed a lot to the health and welfare of American soul, and I would love to hear anything he has to say. Finally, at number 4, I don't have any other picture, but the great Bill Stevenson from The Descendants. I can't imagine a more enthusiastic and fun person to hang out with. He seems very genuine, and his talent is beyond reproach. Songwriter, drummer, whatever he has taken his hand to, he's made it a wonderful thing. And yeah, I would like to hear some punk rock stories from Bill Stevenson, if he'd show up. And of course, it wouldn't be proper without an honorable mention that if there was another chance, it would have been Shane MacGowan. And as much as I love the Pugs and respect the music he's created, I largely imagine he'd be so fucked up drunk and Irish at the same time that I would not be able to understand a single word that the man would be saying. But you're missed, Shane. Go easy. And if I'm allowed, and I guess it's my video, so I am allowed, if any of those 4 living artists couldn't make it, there'd be an open invitation for any cancellation to be filled by Noel Gallagher. I just love everything. The man can talk. He's funny, and I think he'd be a good time. So that's a number 5 on the list. And question number 9. And with number 9, the topic is we lost them, and I'd already just mentioned that it's a great loss to all of us, no longer having Shane MacGowan, even though he was largely unproductive due to various reasons for the last many years of his life. His legacy is worthy and it will be long lasting, and he will be missed. And number 10 tells us that we need to, if we could only listen to music from one country, what country would that be? And as a person who only barely speaks English proficiently, I'm kind of stuck in choosing between the US and England. And those aren't terrible things to be stuck with. I just do kind of wish maybe I had a broader sense of acquisition of language. They've just never come easy to me. And so, yeah, it's no overt patriotism or jingoism that leads me to that. It's just that's the language I speak, and they've both produced incredibly great music. That's hard to deny by anybody who can speak any language. Number 11 is to name 3 vinyl community channels that I discovered in 2023. I'd really only started watching vinyl community channels in 2023. So I follow maybe a dozen or more, and they all started with watching Vinyl Richie, and his videos are still cool, and I definitely watch them whenever he loads one. But 3 I discovered this year that I had 2 of them I'd been lucky enough to correspond back and forth with a bit, and they've both been gentlemen, and I'm very grateful for it. The first one is MGK Boston. Great funny guy Mike. Love his videos. Got a really cozy listening room to hang out in. That's a good thing to have. His cat's pretty awesome as well, and his wife seems to bake some great cheesecakes too. So he's sitting pretty over there, and I will definitely watch everything he puts up. Second is Embryonic Robot. That's Brian, and Canadian gentleman who has impeccable taste in music as well. Always very informative, and did the long, hard legwork of making a top list of all the Smiths records, like every song, which sounds like something I would have ultimately done if he hadn't. So, if for no other reason than that, I thank him, because that would have taken me a long, long time. And third is most recently discovered, but nonetheless one I really enjoy, and that's Berwickshire Mike. He's always got great stories and impeccable taste in music as well. And I watch every video he puts up, and I hope some other people discover it through this too. I'd love to help him out if I could. So thanks, Mike, for the things you do. Okay, and it looks like number 12, show a record you bought when you were a teenager. And this one had me thinking for a second, mainly because I no longer have any of the records that I had when I was a teenager. They've all fucking walked off into other people's collections and were sold for crack. Not by me, mind you, but they are long gone. And I saw that other people were just grabbing a record from their collection that they had owned also when they were a teenager. And in the spirit of that, this is one that takes me back to the day that I bought it on its release. And it's the 12-inch single for You're Gonna Get Yours from Public Enemy. Purchased at the sadly missed Alvin's Music Center in Muscoy, California. If you're from San Bernardino, you know. And this one was important. It was different because up to this point, every Def Jam 12-inch record was in that beautiful maroon sleeve for the first few years. Then after that, that solid black, beautiful, with the tone arm coming down, the classic Def Jam 12-inch sleeve. This was the first picture sleeve for a Def Jam single that any of us had ever seen, and it just blew our minds. And I don't remember if I had heard this before I bought it. I might have bought it just on the strength of this dope-ass cover. Yeah, dude's holding a piece. But of course, the song is killing it. This, like, it's an all-time classic. You're going to get yours. But what I listen to most on this, I believe, is the remix on the B side, the Terminator X Getaway dub. Just really sick turntablism, and it holds up to this day for me. I still have it included on my favorites playlist with all my other songs that I listen to on the regular. So yeah, I bought this one. I might have been 15. And number 13, show a funk or a soul record. And for some reason, Vinyl Richie decided to show a fuck ton of soul records. I think he thought that it was 30 that you were supposed to show. And I got kind of excited. Like, I can fill that order, but it would have taken much longer. So even though I'm going to go with the obvious, it's only obvious because it's so instrumentally awesome in the funk genre. It's Mothership Connection. Does not get any better. And this is my most important album in the funk genre and one that gets listened to the most. So yeah, don't mind showing this one off, whether it's obvious or not. And number 14 states that we are to show a record that we think everyone has, and then also a record we think no one else has. So everybody I know has a copy of this classic, especially if you're my age. This album was tremendously huge. And luckily, it was huge because it was awesome. And I still listen to it. But everybody I know who collects records has at least one copy of this. And I've got a couple myself. And insofar as trying to find a record that I think no one else has, I'm not going to try to pull a flex and find my rarest record that I think nobody else has. I'm going to pull out something here that I found last year, and I had never seen it before or since, but the artists are Woodruff and Greenslade, and the album is called The Pentateuch, and it's a book, and it just jumped out at me because I am a huge fan of comic books, and this is a very, very researched and illustrated looking thing here. I mean, this wasn't just something that, a band shit out to fulfill a record contract. This is pretty awesome to behold. I still haven't listened to the damn thing. I've read some reviews, and it doesn't seem to be up my alley. And I will listen to it someday. Oh, that's there we go. I'm sure I'll listen to it someday, but it's just phenomenally well put together. And I'll buy another one if I find it. I think these things are awesome. And number 15, She's Great. Show a record by a female singer that you purchased in 2023. And I put this in a video just a couple months ago. I think it might have been one of my first. This is the great Rhiannon Giddens, formerly of the Carolina Chocolate Drops, and doing incredible solo work, as one would expect if you're familiar at all with what she does. Yeah, definitely my favorite female singer album of the year, without a doubt. And number 16 looks to be the favorite video we posted in 2023. Well, I got a late start, so I think I only made 3 or 4 decent length videos. I started, I believe, in October or November, so I didn't really get a lot done. But the one that really flowed the easiest was my Smiths and Morrissey collection video, mainly because it is one of the largest chunks of my collection and has been a focus for many years and still brings me a lot of enjoyment. Uh, doesn't have a whole lot of views yet, to tell you the truth, but I just started this thing, so I'm not in really any kind of hurry. And the next part of the question there is the video I most enjoyed watching in 2023 from the vinyl community. Sadly, it was one I watched earlier in the year, and I haven't been able to find it again, but it was an English fellow going to a record fair. and just seeing the most incredible UK records that would drive an Anglophile like myself pretty crazy if I was to be thrown into that place and have some money on me. It was just Beatles promos, from the early 60s and hard to find Zeppelin records. And I really wish I would have saved the channel, but it was one of the ones that got me into actually watching and understanding what the VC tag was. So maybe I'll go back and try to find that again. But until then, I subscribe to people I mentioned earlier, and I love watching all their videos. So I'd say whatever new one those guys put up is my favorite one until the next one shows up. Number 17 is Show Me an Album You Consider a 90s Classic. And nothing would make me happier than showing my favorite 1990s album, Inema by Tool, but they've conspired for a number of years to prevent me from owning an official copy. And I'm not going to buy a CD bootleg burned to wax. I don't need it that badly. I can stream it. But I do find it kind of shitty that they promised new vinyl years ago and have kind of laughed it off ever since. But some of the shitty things they're doing just don't surprise me anymore. But since I don't have a copy of Inema to share with anybody, I will go with what I consider to be another 90s classic. And there's not a surprise here, but again, it's not surprising because it is so incredible. And I don't need to extol its virtues to any of the vinyl community here. You all know what it is and how it does. It holds up extremely well. I mean, it's been a long, long time, and this still has things I listen to. I'm very happy to have it. Number 18 is If I Could Walk Onto a Cover. And we're tasked with looking through our collection and finding covers that look like a whole lot of fun. And the one that usually comes to mind for me is Parliament Funkadelic's Up for the Downstroke, where everybody on that cover is having a solid good time. Like, I want to be at that party. But I don't have that one. That's one of the two P-Funk records I just don't have yet. And it's distressing me because, like I said, I like the cover. But since I had to grab one to show, this has been a cover I've wanted to be in for a very long time, since I was a very young man. I really hope I don't have to explain much other than I've never listened to this record. And I've had it for a very long time. Number 19 is It's Like a Greatest Hits album, and we're tasked with showing a record that we're so familiar with that it kind of plays like a greatest hits. And I think there's two that really fit this bill, but the first one would absolutely, to my mind, be Copper Blue from Sugar. Might have been one of the last records I listened to a lot on cassette before I bought on CD. And in a friend's car, it was on a loop for a very long time because it's Bob Mould and, guitars, songs. It's beautiful. And top to bottom, I still know every one of these songs very well. And number two is probably much more obvious, again, to someone of my age, but the self-titled Violent Femmes. Top to bottom, no skips, every single word, every single song, and very good in concert as well. I saw them in 1989 at USC, and they put on a great show. Good stuff. And for question number 20, show me an album that was released in 1974. And 1974 almost instantly brings to my mind The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway from Genesis. I had already spoken numerous times about my love for all things Peter Gabriel, and this album might be where that started. I really enjoy this album, and just don't have the bread to buy that 4 LP they released. I think Acoustic Sounds did or whatever, but it looks awesome. And if there are any left, I'm definitely going to try to make it a birthday present to myself. So here you go, 1974, when Rich himself was turning 3 years old. Love it. And in closing, just want to thank you for your patience and hope you might have found something interesting. I'm going to put the vinyl tag on this one, and at least 2 or 3 times a day, I'll watch videos from channels that I haven't been subscribed to yet that are putting their own vinyl tag 2024 videos out. And I'm finding new channels to subscribe to myself. So hopefully you like this one and you'll do the same. And let's keep it going. Thanks a lot, vinyl community.